Good day. Welcome to today's session. In this video, we're going to solve exponential equations. I have these exam questions, one which was asked in 2019-2020 exam, that is mathematics 1100, and the other one from 2021-2022, that is mathematics 1120 and Mathematics 11, 2023, 2024 exam. Alright, so let's solve this. But before we can tackle these questions, let's familiarize ourselves with some exponential laws. Okay? Let's have some laws. Okay, I think there are enough slides. Alright, so with laws of indices, laws of exponentials or laws of exponentials or indices rather. Okay, so let's have some laws. So the first one is for a zero power. If you have a to the power 0, that is simply 1. Any number is to the power 0, but except 0 itself, because you can't say 0 to the power 0 is equivalent to 1. No, this is not equivalent. Okay, so this is not part of the condition. The second law we must understand is when you have a to the power n raised to the power m, a power raised to another power, that is simply a m n. You just multiply the two exponentials. Let's have another law. When you have a raised to the power m, when you're multiplying exponentials with the same base, you simply add the powers. So it will be a raised to the power m plus n. That same applies when you are dividing with the same base. We're dividing with the same base. A to the power m divided by a to the power n. That is simply a. For this one, you subtract the powers. Okay? What about if you have a raised to the power a negative power? Okay? So this is simply 1 over a raised to the power n. Okay. Then what if you have a raised to the power n over m? So this is simply a root of m actually, then everything raised to the power n. Okay, so that's the meaning there. So I think we've exhausted a number of the laws. Let's now solve the questions. So we'll be applying the same laws in solving these questions. So these are the questions. Right, so let's start with the first question from 2020 exam for Math 1100. So the question was, solve the exponential equation 4 to the power x minus 6, open bracket 2 to the power x minus 16 is equal to 0. Okay. Let's solve this. Alright. So the question is, let me just review the question again. Okay, so it is solve the exponential equation 4 to the power x minus 6 o'clock. So that's the question. So it is this of this kind. Okay. So it is 4 raised to the power x minus 6 raised to the power 2 to the power x minus 16 is equal to 0. So how can you solve this question? Here, you just need to make sure that this appears similar, okay? You need to have, or to make sure that you raise this 4 to the power x, you compare it to 2 to the power x. That's the secret here. Nothing much. You just need to make sure that they are similar. So you can raise this 4 to the power 2. So 2 to the power 2, that is 4. Then it is raised to the power x minus 6. 2 to the power x minus 16 is equal to 0. Then you can just use that law. The law I said, if you have m, a to the power m raised to the power n, that is simply a raised to the power mn. Okay? So here, I can just interchange since I want to compare. So I can just say 2 to the power x, then raised to the power 2, minus 6, open brackets, 2 to the power x, minus 16 is equal to 0. So at this point, I can say let 2 to the power x maybe be equal to any data of my choice. I can pick y. Okay? So let's 2 to the power x be equal to y. So we're going to substitute y where there is 2x. So it will be y squared minus 6y minus 16 is equal to 0. Okay. So that's what we have. So it will be y squared minus 6 where there was x, where there was 2 to the power x, we substitute y, then minus 16 is equal to 0. At this point, you can find the product. This is a quadratic equation. So a product is simply 1 by negative 16, that is negative 16. The sum is simply negative 6, it's given by b. And the factors now, the two numbers, when you multiply them, you have 2, 8. I'm sure negative 8 there, because when you multiply 2 by negative 8 to give you negative 16, 2 plus negative 8 should give you negative 6. So those are the factors. So we're going to have y squared plus 2y minus 8y. We have just substituted where there is b. Then minus 16 is equal to 0. Then we can factorize this in pairs, so it will be y minus y plus 2. Okay. Then minus 8, this is also y plus 2 is equal to 0. So we can say y plus 2, then also y minus 8 is equal to 0. So these are the factors. Let me just rub this 8. So from the first one, we can say y minus 2 is equal to 0. So y is simply, we find the additive inverse of negative 2, or negative 2 goes to the other side, that is positive 2. Or the other solution is y minus 8 is equal to 0. So y is equal to what? 8. But these are not the final solutions. We had to let, remember we said let 2x be equal to y. So how are we going to do it? So this is what we are going to do. So we're going to say but 2 to the power x was equal to y. So we're going to say 2 to the power x. The first solution for y, we found it to be positive 2. So we can say this 2 is same as 2 to the power 1. Okay? Because 2 to the power 1 is just 2. So when the bases are equal, should the powers be? So the powers are also equal. So we can say x is equal to 1. Excuse me. Or the second solution is 2 to the power x is equal to excuse me, 8. So we can say 2 to the power x is equal to, we can raise this value 8 to a certain power of 2. So we can say 2 to the power 3, that is 8. The bases are equal, so the powers should also be equal. So x is equal to 3. So these are the solutions. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. So the next question is from 2021-2022 exam, that should be math 1120. Solve the exponential equation 1 over 2 rather, open brackets 2 to the power x is equal to 4 to the power 1 minus x. Okay. So the question we have is 1 over 2 okay. Actually, the actual question, let me just check it. Okay, the actual question had on the denominator 2 to the power x, not on the, not as multiplied by half, no. It was 2 to the power x was just a denominator. Okay. So it's equal to 4 to the power 1 minus x. So let's solve this one. Okay. So we can say 1 over 2 to the power x is equal to, we can write this as 2 raised to the power 2, that is 4, then raised to the power 1 minus x. Okay, let's simplify this. If you have a raised to the power m raised to the power n, we said this is simply a raised to the power m by n. Now let's multiply. So you simply multiply the indices. So let me take this and evaluate it. So this is same as saying 2, then I'll say 1 multiplied by 2, excuse me, that is simply 2, 1 multiplied by x, that is negative 2x. Excuse me. Okay, so this is what I have. So this is same as saying 2 to the power 2 over 2 to the power x, that's the 2 to the power 2 to 2x, 2 to the power 2x. So this is same as saying 2 to the power 2, that is 4 over 2 to the power 2x. So that is, you can just rearrange this. You can say 2 to the power x, then raise to the power 2. So this is what I have. Let's remove this part. So I can even substitute from here because I've evaluated this. So this is 4 over 2 to the power x raised to the power 2. So at this point now, we can say let 2 to the power x maybe be equal to, yes, be equal to y. Okay, so where there is x, 2 to the power x, so substitute y. Alright, so let's have a new slide. Okay, so if we have 2 to the power x is equal to 4 over 2 to the power x square, then we said we had to let 2 to the power x be equal to y. You can substitute that, so it will be 1 over 2 y is equal to 4 over, there we can have 2y, not 2y but just y square. Okay, then we can multiply. Let me rub this side, so I use this part. So we can multiply y square multiplied by 1, just y squared, is equal to 4 multiplied by 2y, that is 8y. Then I'll take this 8y to this side, so it will be minus 8y is equal to 0. Then I factorize, it will be y minus 8 is equal to 0. I'll factorize that. So what I have now is y open bracket y minus 8 is equal to 0. So you can say y is equal to 0 or y minus 8 is equal to 0, of which we can say y is equal to 8. But we had to let, remember, but we said 2 to the power x is equal to y. Okay? So 2 to the power x will be equal to, the first solution we've gotten is 0 for y. So for this one, there is no value which we can raise to 2 to the power x. There is no x value, we can raise 2 to the power x and get the value 0. So this one has no solutions. So you can just say no solutions. Then we will get back to the second solution, which was 8. So 2 to the power x is equal to 8. So I'm going to say 2 to the power x is equal to, you can raise 8 to the power 2 to the power 3. Since the bases are the same, so should the power. So x is equal to 3. So we have x is equal to 3 as the solution. So this is how you solve this question. Okay. Let's move to a different question. I think the last question we have is from 2023. 2023 exam. So it will solve the exponential equation. This is 2023-2024 exam. 3 open brackets 9 to the power x minus 28 open brackets 3 to the power x plus 9 is equal to 0. Okay. Let's solve this one. Okay. And so it is 3 open brackets 9 raised to the power x minus 28 open bracket 3 raised to the power x plus 9 is equal to 0. So as usual, we make something similar here. So we can raise this 9 as 3 to the power 2. Then there is also the power x there. Then minus 28 3 to the power x plus 9 is equal to 0. Then we can say 3 open brackets. You can multiply those powers. So it will be 3. In fact, don't even multiply. You can just compare. So we raise to 3 to the power x. Then this 2 goes out like that. Then minus 28 3 to the power x plus 9 is equal to 0. Then you say let 3 to the power x be equal to y. Why do I like y? Okay, you can use any letter of your choice. I think y is becoming my favorite for me. So let's now substitute. So we can say since it was 3 open bracket 3 raised to the power x square minus 28 raised to the power 3x. Okay, let me write it properly. 3 to the power x plus 9 is equal to 0. So we had to let 3 to the power x be equal to y. So let's substitute wherever we see 3 to the power x, we substitute y. Wherever we see 3 to the power x, let's substitute y plus 9 is equal to 0. Okay? So this is 3y squared minus 28y plus 9 is equal to 0. So now, at this point, we find the product. The product is equal to 27, 3 by 9. We find the sum is given by b, which is negative 28. We find the factors should be negative 1, comma, negative 27, because when you multiply negative 1 by negative 27, you get positive 27, which is the product. When you add negative 1 minus negative 27, you are going to get negative 28. Okay, so these are the factors. Let's now expand this. So let me just rub we know the factors. So it will be 3y square. The factor 1 is the negative y minus 27y, the second factor, plus 9 is equal to 0. Okay, here let me rub from the top so that I don't use another slide. Okay, this is raised to the power 2, mind you. So you can factorize in pairs here. You can say y, open bracket, excuse me, we have 3y minus 1 there. Then here we can factorize plus 9. Then we remain with, actually factorize negative 9, not plus 9. Okay, so we factorize negative 9. Here we remain with positive 3y, because 3y times negative 9, that is negative 27, then minus 1, so that when you multiply negative 9 by negative 1, you get positive 9 is equal to 0. So we have y minus 9, open brackets, 3y minus 1 is equal to 0. Let me move this. So we can say y minus 9 is equal to 0, so y is equal to 9, and this side 3y minus 1 is equal to 0. We can say 3y is equal to 1. We divide by 3 on both sides, and we're going to remain with y to be equal to 1 over 3. So these are the two solutions we have, but they are not final solutions. Okay, we had to let but we said something like 3 to the power x be equal to y. The first solution for y we found to be 9. Let me just refer to it. It's 9, yes. So we're going to say 3 to the power x is equal to 9. Make sure that 9 has a base of 3 raised to a certain power. So 3 to the power x will be equal to 3 squared. That should give 9. When the bases are the same, so should the power. So x is equal to what? 2. So this is the first solution. The second solution, going to say, 3 to the power x is equal to, we found to be 1 over 3? Yes, 1 over 3. Okay, so you can say 3 to the power x is equal to, you can manipulate 1 over 3. We once said that when you have 1 over a, this is the same as saying a to the power negative 1. So let's apply that knowledge here. So this will be equal to 3 to the power negative 1. When the bases are the same, so should the power be. So 3 is equal to 3. So even the powers x is equal to what? Negative 1. So this is the second solution we have. Basically, this is how you can apply the laws of indices in solving exponential equations. Thank you for watching.